always wanted to make this video. I've always seen those little free libraries and I've never actually taken a book from it, but I feel like it's just gonna be so fun to see what they may have, what I might be reading, and just kind of get myself out of my comfort zone because I don't really have an option. Like, I have to choose whatever is in there. So if you don't know the rules here, you have to give a book to take a book. So I did just redo my whole bookshelf and I unhauled some books. I'll go ahead and give you a quick rundown of the books I'm giving away. I'm giving away Happy Place by Emily Henry. This is like one of her most famous books ever, and someone's going to be really, really happy with this one. Yeah, if y'all watch that video, you know my thoughts on it. Parlor Games by Marca Biagio. I feel like some older grandma is gonna eat this book up. Ooh, guys, whoever is gonna look at that free library is lucky, because I know this is such a popular book, but it's Book Lovers by Emily Henry. I've had this book on my bookshelf for a while. I read it a couple years ago. I don't really see myself reading it again. I have this Christmas book, Here Comes Santa Claus. I figured someone who would want to read a book during Christmas. The Ichabod by J.K. Rowling. This is like a kid's book. And last but not least, I have Raft of Stars by Andrew J. Graff, and it's about these two kids who go on this adventure together, and it's really fun, very cute. So those are all of the books I will be giving away in these, and I'm excited to see what we end up getting. Let's go. The books I ended up getting at the free little library. I ended up getting more than I expected. I thought I was only gonna get 3, but I ended up giving away like 15 books, and there was this one, it was the second one you guys saw, so insanely good. When I walked up, I gasped. Whoever controls that free little library, like, she's good. She knows what to read and all this, because the books in there were just superb. The quality of them were so good. Oh my gosh, I was so excited. I actually think almost all these books are from that one because it was just so good, and it didn't compare to the other ones. The other ones just had like a lot of kid books, older books, kind of what I expected. I was really nervous going into this, honestly, because I was scared that I was just gonna get a whole bunch of like old romance or thrillers like Tom Clancy or something that you just always see. But I ended up getting some really good books that I want to go through. Me Before You. I found this one in one of the last free little libraries I went to, and I picked it up because Me Before You is one of my favorite movies ever, and I've never read the book before, so I thought, okay, maybe I should try to read the book, like see if I like it, things like that. The next book I got is this book, and now that I'm sitting here, I don't really know if I want to read this book. The more I looked into it, I really just liked the cover, and the back seemed like sort of interesting, but it's called The Water Knife by Paolo Bacigalupi. I don't know. It's set in like a near future where climate change happens, and it's set in Arizona. What do we do when heat is taking over? There's not enough water. When I was reading some like Fable reviews, they said it's very gruesome, lots of fighting. It kind of feels like an action movie in a book, and if you are not prepared for that kind of setting and guts and gore, like, it might not be for you, and I don't necessarily know if I'm into that. I think this book seems very intriguing and fun. I did end up picking this one up. We will see if we end up reading it in this video or reading it at all. This one is These Violent Delights by Chloe Gong. I actually ended up keeping it at the free little library and going back and picking it up because I couldn't stop thinking about it, and I took it as a sign that I had to read it. It's a YA kind of fantasy dystopian world, which is honestly one of my favorite types of reads. This book is set in 1926 Shanghai, and it's kind of giving a Romeo and Juliet because it's between two gangs. The main character's name is Juliet, spelled differently, but Juliet. And then there's Roma on the other side. They were first loves. They had a big betrayal. They're on opposite sides of the gangs, and they somehow have to end up working together to basically stop all of the war and stuff and the rivalry between two gangs. And so it just seems fun. It seems different, and I have never heard anyone talk about this book, so I think it'll be just really exciting to get into. And it was just so intriguing. I just kept thinking about it after I drove away, and I was like, no, I have to go back and take it. I got The Crash by Frieda McFadden. I feel like anytime I see a Frieda McFadden book, I just have to pick it up because I just know it's going to be good. And I figured if I didn't like one of the books I was reading, I could easily pick this up and devour in a day because they're just so addictable and easy to read. This one's about Tegan. She's 8 months pregnant. She's alone. She gets stranded in this crazy blizzard. A couple ends up letting her stay at their house, and things get weird and things get scary, and she doesn't know what to do. And once I read it, I was like, okay, I kind of need to know what happened, so I have to kind of pick this up and read it. Right when I walked up to that one I love, I saw this book. And we made eye contact and I knew she was coming home. I feel like I might have seen this somewhere, like on Book Talk or BookTube or something. Maybe someone holding up this book, which may have sparked me just feeling like I already knew that this book was going to be good. But it's Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. And if you feel like you know that name, she wrote the Shadow and Bone trilogy and the Six of Crows duology. I haven't read any of those, but I've been wanting to read both of them. Both of them are very high on a want to read list. And so now I'm able to finally read a book she's written. And I think this book has gotten a couple awards, things like that. So I'm really excited to get into it. I've been craving a fantasy. I've been having deep withdrawals after finishing A Court of Silver Flames because now the ACOTAR series is currently over for now. So I just need something that was going to emulate those sorts of vibes. And I have a feeling that this is exactly that. And if you see right there, the excerpt for it is the best fantasy novel I've read in years. Stephen King. And I did already start this one. I started this one a couple days ago. So I'm starting Ninth House right now. I spent the last couple minutes studying the map. Like, bet. You have no idea what any of this means. And I was like, in my head, I was sitting here like, no, I need to study it now because it's gonna be like really important later. As if I just can't turn back to the front of the book and look at it. Like, I think I'm losing it a little bit. And I will say, I started it late at night and I was a little delusional and it was a little too late to be starting a new book that had a whole bunch of words and I was very confused. I ended up finishing halfway through chapter 1 on page 18 and I closed the book because my brain just couldn't understand what's going on and I really wanted to retain the information, so I went to bed. I opened it up the next day and I started reading it. I ended up getting to page 58. I got to chapter 4 and now I'm finally understanding it because my first impressions of this book is one of the very first scenes is all of these people in a theater, people wearing cloaks, and they're dissecting a human on the table. And I was just so lost. I was very confused. There was like no context behind it. It was supposed to be like some sort of hook, like the prologue was like a hook that was going to grab you in, and I got confused instead. Once I actually started getting into it and reading it a little bit more and actually getting the history behind things, it started getting very interesting. And I feel like this is such a different concept I haven't really read about, so I'm very excited. But in a nutshell, it is set on the campus of Yale in New Haven, Connecticut, and this is where all of the power and magic is held. And the magic is very well known to a lot of people, and they create societies to be able to understand, kind of be in control, and manipulate this magic. In this magic, you're able to see grays. Grays equal ghosts, and to be able to see them, you're supposed to have this sort of somewhat like secret potion that you take, and you have a high risk of dying when you take it. But Alex, which is our main character, she's able to see ghosts without this like crazy potion. And she's a high school dropout. She was about to go to jail. Like, she is a little bit rebellious. And they snatch her and they give her a full ride to Yale. And they were like, hey, but you have to be in this society and do these roles and all this stuff because you have this great power of seeing grades without having to do anything. And you basically follow her on this journey of being in Yale, trying to be in the society. And there's a lot of mystery coming into it. There was just a murder that she like had to go and attend and figure things out for the society. So there's a lot of like twists and turns. It's supposed to be like a horror fantasy thriller sort of book all combined into one, and I'm very excited. I've never read about ghosts, and I've never read about like this sort of world where it's kind of like it's a fantasy, but it's set in places that we know. It's New Haven, Connecticut. Like, we can picture these things. Like, I'm just thinking Rory Gilmore Yale in my head. So these are all of the books. I think the game plan here is to continue reading Ninth House. I might either pick up the Frieda McFadden book, Me Before You, or end up going again with a very similar story with These Violent Delights. So I don't really know. Right now I'm reading Ninth House. I'm enjoying it, and I think that we should go ahead and continue reading it. I'm giving like the Lorax or something. Just got out of the shower, but I wanted to talk about the two books I ended up reading from the Free Little Libraries. The first one, as you saw, was Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo, and I have so many thoughts about this book. When I first started it, I genuinely was really confused. I think at first the world was a lot. It was just kind of thrown at you and you were just supposed to understand it, and I didn't understand it, so I was very confused. I would describe this book as a dark academia meets murder mystery Agatha Christie whodunit style with magical elements, houses, ghosts, and it's all set in Yale. It's really fun. It's like a roller coaster of a whole bunch of events happening. Thoroughly enjoyed Alex Stern as a character. I think sometimes you could kind of get annoyed by her, and sometimes she was very relatable, and understanding like her history and her background, how she even got there, was very entertaining and cool because she had a lot of depth to her, and I really enjoyed that. Like, this girl had full arm tattoos, like just completely doused in tattoos. She's very fun and very different. I don't think I normally read dark academia books that often. I can't really think of any off the top of my head that I have read before, and so this kind of being my first intro into that dark academia sense, I really liked it, and I think I actually will be picking up this kind of genre more because it was so fun. I feel like if you are looking for a fall book, this is it. This is just a really cool concept of a book, and there wasn't a big romance plot. There wasn't these stereotypical tropes that I've been seeing in a lot of the more recent up-and-coming books that I've been reading. Although I do enjoy that, I just kind of felt like a refresher to read a book that didn't follow the same narrative as everything else. It's the perfect cozy vibe to get into the fall season. Highly recommend. And I actually ended up finishing that book on vacation, and so I went to Puerto Rico like you guys saw, and I did end up starting my next book right after that. It was none other than a Frieda McFadden book. It was The Crash, and I feel like I sped read this book. I feel like I do that every time with all of her books because she just has a way of captivating you with her thrillers, and I think it is just like the simple syntax and the mystery and the quickness of everything that's going on. Like, she doesn't leave you hanging too long. This is like one of those like perfect books to read when you are traveling, just because you get so engrossed in it. And so, like, for example, I read most of this on the plane, and I brought my little light in my book on the airplane, and I just read away. I mean, time escaped me. I completely forgot I was on a plane because she has a way of just kind of roping you into the story and wanting to read and figure it out very quickly. You're basically following Tegan, and she's 8 months pregnant, and she's driving to go see her brother, and she ends up crashing, and it's snowing. It's this big blizzard going on, and she gets rescued by this man who she's terrified by. He takes her to her house, but she is basically like off the grid. And so she ends up at this cabin, and she's, 8 months pregnant, and she's freaking out because all of a sudden she realizes something seems off in this house. I don't know, these people seem a little strange. You kind of follow how she's trying to understand everything, while at the same time getting the POV of another character in the book and understanding their perspective of everything and why things are happening and stuff like that. So I feel like I knew what was happening rather quickly because of the dual POV, and the ending was pretty predictable to me. I mean, I'm really, when I read thrillers or mysteries or anything, I am there for fun. I am not trying to solve anything. I'm not trying to be sleuthy and a detective when I'm reading. It is purely enjoyment. So usually my brain turns off and I don't try to solve it. But with this one, I mean, it was right there for you, and I just was reading and put the puzzle pieces together and got it. I feel like her books are really good if you want to read one really fast, maybe if you're in a book slump or something and just kind of want to get lost in it really quickly. And I feel like that's perfect when I'm traveling because it kind of distracts me from the stress of traveling, being on an airplane, things like that. In that regard, it's really nice. I mean, this book wasn't anything crazy for me. Definitely not my favorite by her. I mean, I think hands down Housemaid will always be one of my favorites just because I feel like there was more gripping me. Those were the two books. It's funny because I told myself I was gonna finish off my summer TBR, and I happened to read two books that were very fall vibes. Like, one was literally in a blizzard and one was with ghosts, and both of them just emulated fall, cozy, winter vibes. But I'm here for it. I mean, I'm literally in a sweater and I'm in Florida and it's 90 degrees, but these books make me want to pull out all the winter clothes and fall aesthetic and get cozy. So I think I might end up actually doing that very soon. I loved both of these books. I feel like it was really fun, and I love that I got to pick it out from the free little library because who knew? I definitely really loved The Ninth House, and I was really excited when I saw it in the free little library. I jumped up and down. This is your reminder to go to freelittlelibraries.com and see if there's one near you. Drop off some books that you don't think you'll ever be reading and get some new ones, because who knows, you might find your next favorite read and be very grateful that you ended up going there, because I am very grateful for these two books. And if you are wondering, I do still have these 3 books. So I think one of my next reads will be Me Before You. I also have The Water Knife. I think I might be picking it up. I'm gonna hold it for a little while and see how I feel about it. The warnings of this book made me a little more hesitant on actually picking it up and diving into it, and I definitely will be reading this book. I am very excited. This will be one of my next reads. I have a feeling this is gonna be such a good time, but I did kind of want to hold it for actual fall season and winter season because I feel like this will be very cozy to get lost in a different world for a little bit during that time. But thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, maybe found a little different, got some inspiration to go to your local free library, and I will see you all in my next video. I love you all so much. Mwah! See you very soon, hopefully. Okay, bye.